Hi gents, we're going to do a little series on the proofs and constructions. So we'll start off with the first proof that we have here. It's Theorem 4, which is the proof is the three angles in any triangle add to 180. Okay, so in order to get the marks here, you gotta have a few things. You gotta have what's given to you. You gotta have a diagram. This is true for all proofs, okay, where they have just a few proofs for you to learn. You've got to learn Theorem 4, Theorem 6, Theorem 9, Theorem 14, so it's just those ones there. There is a couple of ways to do Theorem 14 and of course Theorem 19, which is one that they like to ask. So you've got given, you've got diagram, you've got to prove, you've got the construction, anything that you add to the diagram, and you need to have the proof itself. Okay, the key to remembering all of these, so this is Theorem 4, the key to doing all of these is a good diagram. Okay, if you have a good diagram, you are good to go. So here's what the diagram is. So what you want to do is you want to draw a triangle, and you want to have a line which is parallel along there. Okay, if you can remember that, you are good to go. So we'll give these things names. We'll call them X, Y, Z, maybe something like that, and we will then have inside here, we'll call it A, or let's call it alpha, beta, gamma. Okay, we'll give them those names there, and we'll have delta, and we'll have epsilon there. Okay. This is what we should do. We will now make a list of our, well, we've done diagram, done. We'll make a list of what's given. What's given is very specifically anything that's mentioned inside there and nothing else. Okay, anything that we've added on in terms of that, in terms of the diagram that we have there, should not be included in it. Okay. Excuse me. Some things don't change. Okay, given. Well, what's given to us is a triangle. It's got the name XYZ, and three angles. Three angles. I suppose you can just say what's given to us is angle alpha, beta, and gamma. That's what's mentioned in the proof, but there's nothing else that's mentioned in it. So that's given. After that, I would write in the construction. Construction is anything else that you added in. So we'll call this line L here. So our construction was L, such that it's parallel to XY. Okay, so that's why I've drawn in those little lines there. That is parallel to that. So you got to draw that in. And the other thing that we did was there was no mention of this, of anything other than the three angles in the triangle. So we'll just label delta and epsilon. Okay, that's what our construction is. What do we want to prove? To prove, well, we just want to show that alpha plus beta plus gamma equals 180. That's what it means when it says the three angles in any triangle add up to 180 degrees. Okay, how do we do it? Well, this is our proof. So of course you should be pausing the video as always and just trying to come up with what I'm going to be writing down next. Anytime you see questions like this, that's what we'll be doing in class. I expect you to do the same here. So our proof is that, well, first thing that we should say is that delta plus gamma plus epsilon is equal to 180 degrees, and you must back it up. You must say why that is, and it is because it is a straight angle. that that is just a straight angle, 180 degrees. All good. Next one we can say is that alpha is equal to delta. Why? So again, you should be thinking of this before I go and write it in. So the reason is that they are what type of angles to each other? Well, if you have parallel lines and you get that Z shape, you are of course creating alternate angles. They are alternate to each other. It's also true that beta is equal to epsilon, and they're also alternate angles. Okay, so if we write in delta plus gamma plus epsilon is equal to 180, if we now replace delta with alpha, because we can, delta is equal to alpha. So instead of writing delta, I'm going to write down alpha. I'm going to leave gamma alone, and instead of writing epsilon, I'm going to write beta, because we've just shown that beta is epsilon. So we now get that this thing is 180 degrees, and that was by replacing delta with alpha and epsilon with beta. So there we have it, we have the thing that we want. Alpha plus beta plus gamma is equal to 180 degrees, as we wanted to say, and of course we're entitled to write in a little QED at the end. Okay, so that is your first proof. That is theorem 4. You can just be asked that, you'll need to know all of it. How will you remember? Well, if you have the diagram, you're way more likely to remember with the diagram. Oh yeah, I see some alternate angles there. Okay, I'll start off with that being 180, and then alpha is delta and beta is epsilon. So actually when we say that delta, epsilon and gamma are 180, it's the same as saying alpha, beta and gamma are 180 as well. Okay, so the key to all of this is diagram, 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 and just remember that. Okay, thanks gents.